Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is JJ. Thanks for coming to my channel, JDevianceJ. For those of you who do know me and have returned, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to come back and to reconnect, and I am extremely honored that you've decided to revisit my channel today. So, long story short, I have been gone for a little more than 2 years now. Not that anyone is counting. I certainly am not. I have lost count of the days, if I will be very honest. My time off was very much inspired by the need to connect to myself, revisit my creative sides, and in one way or another, remove myself from being so present online and focusing more on how I can work on my own growing physical surroundings, if you will, my own maturity and my own development in the real world. And hearing me say all of this is quite ironic given the state of affairs today, which we will get to in a while. This is also one reason why I am deciding to connect with you all today, is really because of this intense need to connect in a time when we are also asked to self-distance and, well, socially distance and self-isolate. Depending on where you are around the world, this can be small scale, this can be large scale. Certain countries have decided to take more lax measures than others, while the majority of countries and cities around the world at the moment are on severe lockdown, including the City of London. And so in a time where I have been spending the last couple of years of my time away from producing content on YouTube and focusing my efforts on my day-to-day grind, my sixth house, if you will, and my first and second houses of, developing my self-identity and securing the more financial side of life. Being in such a corporate world such as London itself, I had very much been consumed with those things over the last 2 years. That is not to say, though, that I have not had very strong urges and desires to come back to YouTube, because I have. It was just more a matter of time and when. I kept asking myself the question of when will be the right time, the response then often turning out to be, there is no better time than now. I chose to ignore that response for a very long time, despite encouragement from friends and family, despite the numerous, and I thank you so much for the numerous comments that I received during the time that I was away. I want to say that I read and acknowledged and appreciated every single comment and email that I received whilst I was very much away from producing the tarot readings and one-to-ones, as I sometimes like to refer to them as. I had very much missed the community and YouTube society that I had come to build in such a short amount of time as well, I might say. It is true that although this account has been active since 2011, I never really did anything with it until just a few years back, really, and was only on for 2 years before I decided to be my very mercurial self and move on to other things in life. And such is life. The pace of life changes, and that is one thing as well that I have been wanting to address. So, with social distancing measures and self-isolation in place, we are left with our thoughts and our own feelings more than anything else in the world. And we come to realize that our material wealth and our physical abundances that we have accrued in our life have suddenly reduced down to the bubble that we're being forced to stay in right now, be it your home or wherever you are around the world. And we're being asked to focus on our health. We're being asked to respect the health of others around us, those who are close, as well as those who are complete and utter strangers. And now we are being urged to really work together as a society and as a community, and to break down our differences that way. If we are sharing one thing in common now, it is this virus pandemic that is consuming every host that it can. In fact, it will. Young and old, and no one is immune. And while we started off thinking that this was no more or less than the common influenza, of course, completely correcting ourselves shortly after and saying, well, no, actually, this is a novel coronavirus that pretends to give the symptoms of flu or cold-like ailments, but in fact is much worse and extremely deteriorating, and no one is exempt from what this virus can do to them. It is true that most symptoms have been mild and moderate, but it is also overwhelmingly true that others have lost their lives to this virus. And I don't know about you, but even though we have been asked to distance ourselves, I felt closer to friends and family in the last few weeks than I have in a very long time. And I think that part of the reason is because we are now seeing that if we do not have our health, and if our loved ones do not have their health, then really what else is there to appreciate in this world and in our lives? Because you can only truly fully live if you are content and comfortable with your physical and mental well-being. And how you respond to events such as this is key to getting through it. And rest assured, we will get through it. I'm not much of an astrologer in the sense that I do not claim to be a full-time astrologer. I am not. I am an avid learner of astrology, and I follow it perhaps more than the average person would, which does allow me to make connections between my tarot work and my astrology. As you all know, that is really the most of the content that is hosted on my channel. This is very much a departure from that because my cards are not with me today. They're present in this room. However, I have decided to come to this very much as myself, not as a reader, and I really want to connect with you on that level, on that more personal level, and also level with you that with all that we're experiencing around Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions and Saturn-Pluto conjunctions as well, that are very much changing our structures and our belief, thought patterns, and the reality that we have built upon those very classic thought patterns have all been challenged. We have very much been living in the age of Capricorn and now moving away and into the age of Aquarius. Very much all in line with this Plutonian impact and aspects that we are feeling. And Pluto being the planet demoted, but still, planet of death and rebirth and transformations pretty much shoved us into the darkest corners of our minds, and poking, all the skeletons in our closets, the kind that you do not want anyone to see, the kind that many people do not wish to acknowledge in themselves, the kind that those people fear will be the end of them if the ones around, others around them come to discover these truths that we very much attempt to bury away. And that is the whole point of forcing us now to listen to how we feel and reevaluate everything that we have come to experience in our lives thus far. Heck, treat this quarantine period as a couple of months you're winning back, another chance to learn that subject you've always wanted to learn, play that instrument you've always wanted to learn, write again, put your thoughts on paper, journal again. When was the last time you journaled? Play with your children, connect with your toddlers, your babies. You will never have a time more relevant than now. And I think we also come to realize how easy it is for us to lose loved ones as well. Just a couple of months ago, it was life as usual. And now it is life without my grandmother, life without my grandfather, life without a daughter, a son, a mother, a husband, a loving father for many people around the world. And that is an extremely devastating thing. So whilst you have the ones that you love around you, cherish them, hold on to them, converse with them. We have never been so blessed than we are today to have this thing called the internet, to have these platforms like YouTube, and to have applications like, Messenger and WhatsApp to get our messages across to our loved ones. Take advantage of all, the video applications out there. There's so many of them, from Skype to Zoom to a new one going around called House Party, to, connect with your friends and loved ones. It will be challenging for our older family members and friends, of course, but I have seen some pretty remarkable things in the last couple of weeks that are proof that doesn't matter how old you are, when there is a will, there is a way. And if I can get my parents on Skype, then you can get yours on it too. It's very important that we reach out to one another and level with each other, and try to get those deep, dark secrets out of you. This is a time when we are also more open to ascending and to transcending. If you already practice your yoga, if you already practice your meditation, this is a very rare chance for you to truly evolve and push yourself a little bit more. What better things do you have to do right now? And I encourage everyone to sit with themselves, sit with their thoughts, get it all out in the open. It's just all very timely, with Venus retrograde also just around the corner as well. I would consider this preparation up to that point in time where your relationships do get challenged in the oddest of ways. Romantic relationships get challenged. Those that are weak will fall away. Those that are strong will prosper and continue to prosper. And those people who were never really meant to be in your life, you will see quickly leave your life. And that's one role that Saturn has to play as well. And with the slow-moving Pluto now really, really rearing his horns in a way. And this Jupitur conjunction with Pluto that we were experiencing in the last 24 hours is urging all that is in to become explosive and expand outwards as a way of releasing all of that dense material that has festered away in the very core of you, so that we can become lighter beings that can, more comfortably, if you will, start a new age of Aquarius and a new cycle of modernity, community, groups, collectively coming together, coming closer together, which is a very interesting shift away from individualism and focusing on the self-growth, and the ego, which in some ways can destroy you and in other ways can also lift you up. It is really about achieving a balance between the time that you spend reflecting on yourself, your own situation, and how your situation affects those of others around you, and the time that you can spend with others as well, and how that time with others can also affect the person that you become. So with that, I will leave it at that. And, again, I just want to thank everyone who has viewed this video today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts as well. If you would like to leave me a comment, please feel free. My email address, my contacts are active as usual. And while I'm not sure when I will come back to post again, I really do intend on doing so. There is no better time than now. I will continue to remind myself that. And in fact, I would not mind spending my days reconnecting with my beautiful subscribers and anyone else who really wishes to stop by. So again, thank you. Have a good day. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and much love.